So just pat it round. Are you all starting?
Yep.
Pat it round. Don't flatten it like a pancake. Just make it into a mound, because this is an MDF board and it doesn't necessarily want to stick to it. So we must squeeze and not pull up at first until the clay is properly attached. Use both hands when the clay is a reasonable size. One hand can be like a mould and the other is a pusher going in against the mould to centre the clay. When you get just higher than the holding hand, lift your hand up and over and squash it down into the mould, into the shape of the rounded shape of your hand, and continue doing that until you've got a nice action going where you're squeezing and pushing against the centre like that, the centre of the right hand, and then up and over and down with the pad on the left hand. And once you've done that 2 or 3 times, you can then just hold the whole thing until you can see it's perfectly, or feel and see that it's perfectly centred. My thumbs will cross over so that it's pressed from all ways. Try and avoid getting a mushroom coming out this side by just tipping your fingers up and making it a clean edge there. So centre, hole, open, pull, chop. Centre, hole, open, pull. So this is the centering. Now for the hole. Make your thumbs like twins, so they're absolutely together, and just gently rest your hands round the clay. Find the centre. Your thumbs will naturally find the centre as long as you keep them together, and gradually push down. You don't have a lot of strength with your thumbs in this position, so I find it best to make a dome or a concave shape with my thumbs like this, and then twist the right thumb round so that it is dead centre, because I've already worked out where the centre is. My hand is wedged against the other hand. Just lubricate it, and then I've got all the strength of my arm to push down, straight down. If you open it off centre, you'll pay for that for the rest of the pot, because you can never really centre it again if it's uneven. So that's the hole. Now this position is the thumb on the outside and the longest finger on the inside. All the others are supporting. Could you pass me a small? Yeah, that one. Thanks. So I lubricate it on the outside, and what I'm going to do is draw the clay across, but at this stage I cut the speed so it's really, really slow, and bring it out. When I'm doing it, I'll have the sponge on top, but I just want you to be able to see the movement of all the strength is actually in the long finger pushing down and out, and this is just keeping it balanced, stopping it flapping, stopping it getting into a flap, and I'm pulling across with the long finger. And I usually do it keeping it lubricated with a sponge like that, and then I can round the donut wall that's around here. Now before we do anything else, we have to compress this dome that's left. So your hands are a unit, they're always touching. So the side of my right thumb will press down really quite hard and push across to the wall. I'm stopping the wall going any further out with my left hand. So I'm pressing down and pushing across. This compressing act is very necessary to avoid S-cracks later on when your pot is fired. So it's pressing down. If I wanted to make it wider, I would carry on pushing, but basically I'm compressing, and it's important to take time. You're also leveling the base, and at this point we can check how much clay we've got by putting a needle in, running your index finger down so it touches the top of the clay, and you can see you've got, well, I'm not very good at centimetres, but maybe 1/4 of a centimetre there.
It's a centimetre,
yeah. Okay, so that gives you an indication later on when you find the pot's too heavy. You think, oh, I need it to be less than that or more than that. Now I'm going to hold the wall with my hands on the outside and my thumbs just resting on the inner top of the wall, and put my foot down and gently squeeze that clay into a cooling towel shape. Lubricate. I'm pressing down with my little finger so that it's all coming in. If I didn't touch it with my thumbs, it would start to concertina and flap. Now I want to even this wall. Just make it even before I start bringing clay up. But it's very important to get this cooling towel dome. I personally take the slurry off my hands because I don't like throwing in slurry. Some people do, your choice. Right, lubricate the walls. When you're lubricating the walls, don't move around like that. One place, let the wheel do the work. Right, I grow my right nail so that I've got a strong tool there for putting a bevel just under the wall. And now it's squeeze against the long finger. The long finger is inside the wall. The scissor action is keeping that in, and those two longest fingers are directly opposite each other. Do another bevel, and we squeeze, and I'm pushing harder on the outside so that I carry on going towards the center of the dome. I'm aiming towards the center. Check the top so that it's still centered. Recenter it. Lubricate the walls. Take it in slightly. Very easy to get clay out. You want it out when you want it out, not when it wants to go out. Bevel. Center fingers opposite. Squeeze and take that clay up. Very easy to take the clay up from the top half, but we want to get all the clay up from the bottom first while we can still reach. I can still reach down there. No, I can't. I've got to go all the way in now. So that's going in, fingers behind, so that I've got the long finger there. The thumb can keep the wall in, and I've still got that clay to bring up from the bottom. I can keep the top wall in with the thumb while I still touch and keep my hands as a unit. Find that clay and bring it up. Slightly too dry. Right, now, there we go. So if there's some uneven squeezing, this should be able to be corrected with a rib. I use the curved side of the rib. It's got a hole in it because it gets very slippery, so that you can catch it there. Whole hand is going in, thumb is keeping the top in, rib's going to the bottom, and I'm using the rib instead of my long finger against my inner long finger to just even out the uneven squeezes that I did before. Well, it doesn't look that even, so let's try the long straight side and just push against that. So now I'm not throwing it up to make any height, I'm just levelling it by pushing it against the straight side of the rib. And there's the cylinder. Right. I would usually use another rib to just tidy up that bottom bit, but I'll just put a bevel in there, that's alright. I mean, that's the principle. Okay?